Hey guys, I'm back and I've got another unit here for you. This time we're going to talk about transformers. So what's the concept behind a transformer? Well, I think it's in the name, right? It transforms. So when we look at transformers, we use a reference that we have, maybe something that is in our lives, like a car, a cat, or whatever it is, and then it's able to use those pieces and move into a more humanoid form, right? It transforms. Pretty self-explanatory, I think, I hope, right? But I promised you that this is what we're going to lead up to and stuff. And so that's why, in part, why we're looking at so many references, right? So that whether it's humans, the humanoid form, right? Whether it's animals, whether it's vehicles or even weapons, actually, we can grab any of them, take some of the key pieces of it, uh, work with those components, and make it into that bot, right? Okay, so why don't we jump on in here? I've got an idea of one that I want to do, and we'll just sketch it together and see what happens. Okay. Okay. So in front of me here, I've got a tank. I think it's a Russian T-61 or something. I can't remember. Doesn't really matter. You can grab any tank, or you can grab any reference you want, right? Like this is, it could be a car, it could be a Porsche, my favorite. Whatever you want, right? What we're going to start with is just kind of a I'm kind of going to box this in just a little bit, right? Okay. Let's see. I just want to kind of have this perspective going on here. Okay. So in this perspective, I'm going to make another box. And this is all really rough. And I'm just kind of putting shoulders in. Here's the top of the shoulder. Here's another shoulder. And I'm just kind of roughing things in. Like this is all blue lined, right? So it's not going to be anything special. And I'm going to put another box below as the pelvis, right? Let's kind of do this, right? Let's see if the legs will be out a little bit. Something along these lines, right? Something like this, right? Like this is all super, super rough. Let's see if I can have the hands somewhere. I usually try to have the hands in a human type position. You know, I'm going to throw in some joints in here, and maybe the head. I should probably put it center somewhere along here, something like that. Okay, so here's my rough sketch, and I'm going to kind of back this out just a little bit. And we go through a few versions of this, right, of roughness, right? Because we're going to be kind of getting into it a little bit closer and looking at some of the key components here, right? So what I want to do is grab the front of this tank and rough in some of these details, right, that I'm seeing on the front panel here of this tank, right? There's seems to be a clasp thing. There's some bolts. There's a grid, an air vent grid here with a handle up top here, right? And there we go. So there's also a ridge line here, another handle here. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm kind of looking at this piece here, right? And then what I can do is have this flap down here. Take this pelvic piece to it, right? And I'm kind of just working on these different small little add-ons to it, right? Okay. So you can see there's like clasps hanging here or something. And this is just me kind of roughing in where I think things should be, right? So the shoulder and this shoulder, I don't know. Let's see, I'm going to bump up here just a little bit. We can have this hinge here, and I'm kind of looking at, now I'm looking at like these parts, right? So this shoulder is going to be this part, and you can see the lines I'm carrying over here, these guard lines, right? Okay, and then this could come back and come back in or something, right? Okay, so far it's starting to maybe look like the tank. One of the biggest things on this tank though is the turret. So I'm going to have this turret, and I'll do this. I'm going to rough this head in for now, just so I've got the spacing on it, right? I'm going to have this turret set up here. the underbelly of it, because I want it protecting his backside. If I was to turn this around, we're going to see the top of the turret, right? So there's things that are coming off of it, and then I can have the barrel, and I guess I should have left more room. But here's the front part of that barrel. Here's that midsection that I'm looking at here. And if I was to draw it all out, there's way more going up this barrel, right? So I kind of cinched myself, but that's okay. If I was, when I redraw this and do some good lines, I'll put that in there, right? Let's see, what else do I want here? I think I'm gonna have a box here for this arm, and maybe a box going down for this arm, right? And then what do I want in between? What am I gonna grab here? Yeah, any details? I kind of like this part here. So if I come down, just come down with a simple rectangle. Some of it's internal joints, so I'm not that worried about it, right? But I could see the flaps that are here, like that are all the details in here. So I might have like a line with something holding it together there, right? And then even this back flap can be this flap over top of here, right? Okay. So I'm gonna make some type of joint here, depending on what I want. This is gonna be the hip structure, right? And then the hand, I'm gonna roughen the hand here. And then we're gonna draw in, I'm gonna do the inner feet right now, right? Okay, so I'm gonna do the inner section here, and there's a reason for that. As I start to move into the outer one, I'm gonna actually make it so that this is where the tread is. So I'm not going to spend too much time in it right now. I'm just kind of roughing in where the tread is, right? And then you could see, if I draw through just a little bit, the wheels would be inside of there, right? So we're just going to see a little bit, and that's what's going to show us on these legs, right? Okay. I want to put a hinge in here, so it'll break down into there, and put a hinge in here so that can be a bit of a knee thing. And let's see, we've got these type of details that we can add into it, right? Okay. There. And then, this hand will go in there. And that is how you start to rough in, taking pieces from your reference. And there can be more, like, okay, so you're going to see, I don't want this unit to go on forever. So I'm just gonna jump to the final lines. And you can see how I brought in even more references and stuff, right? Okay, added a lot more little mechanics and everything. Off of the tank, and how I made this into a finished transformer. I think it works out pretty cool, right? Guys, this is a big part of what this course is about. Is we spent so much time learning about hinging. We spent so much time learning about references, and now we got to take them and just apply them, right? We have our humanoid bot, okay, and then we started to grab from the reference and throw it on all over the place. That's what I want you to do. I got a sheet for you here with the tank, but what I'd really like you to do is grab a car, grab a toaster, grab a blender, whatever it is you want, and start to add the key features, the key components onto a bot and see how you can make it work, right? That's the challenge. That's the challenge of this course, making it work. And I have confidence now you can.